And so I guess.
Okay, you're blowing my mind right now.
Yeah.
Genius. Wow. Oh, wow.
Hey everyone, meet my friend Guy. He's a talented harpist, has this amazing blue harp, and he was coming through Brussels, so he decided to hop in the studio and make some electronic music together, which we did, but we'll save that for another video. In fact, preparing for that, we had some cool conversations about music theory that I think some of you might get something out of, and so I decided to put this conversation into a little video. I think some of you might dig it. See you on the other side.
Oscar, really, you have no clue how valuable it is. Like that is the level of simplicity I always wanted to have with music.
Yeah.
And I never had it. Like, and right now, like I know there's still like a huge long path in front of me, but it just does make sense, and I feel like there's a pattern that I can find myself again. And once I'm becoming familiar with that pattern, I can see how it just like really becomes easy. And it's because before, like all of my life, like with my harp teacher, I knew like, okay, these are like, if you put these two pedals, then she was always like, that's called like a F minor scale 5, or like, or that, but it never resonated. I could never remember it. And she's always like, F minor, B ball, like, or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what it means. And she remembers all of her songs like this, because in her head she's just like, F minor, F this one, and then she remembers all of the chords, and she can play and play and play, and it's genius. But like, I never got this intellectually. And there's this, fuck it, let's go.
I learned piano, doing first some music theory as a kid, and then with some classical piano. And I hated it, and I quit. And then only much later did I discover that chord progressions are the way that music is constructed. And if you understand how to make a chord progression, you can play along with any song ever, or compose your own songs, like from scratch, super easily. And that blew my mind. And so I don't know with your harp practice, did you also have like a classical start to it?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever get to like the point of chord progressions?
No. So I got, I played since the age of 6.
Yeah.
Then at the age of 13, 14, I was like really good, like in German competition at national level, like really, really good. And then at 15, I started losing interest a bit.
Mm-hmm.
At 17, I was like, I'm gonna stop, because I got to a point where the things that was playing was like contemporary, which is like weird as fuck and like really hard, and I was like, stuff like that. So I was like, okay, fuck it, I want to find my own style. And I started playing more stuff like film music, like Titanic or Pirates of the Caribbean. We also like hit the harp, more rocky, and
cool.
And then, but then at 18 I stopped.
Yeah.
And then I picked it up again 3 years ago when I bought a little harp in Mexico, and then like 6 months ago I bought this electric harp.
Yeah.
And then started. But in the meanwhile, I was always playing the piano, especially at the airport. So like, I know how to play piano.
Especially at the airport?
Yeah.
Especially at the airport.
Because at the airport you always have like these pianos, So
what do you spend more time practicing at the airport than anywhere else? Or
yeah, because I was traveling the whole time. So like, I always play at the airport, So I would be there 1 hour and just like go on a melody, and I really liked it. So I know only like one song on the piano, which is like my first song ever was like pour Elise, right? Because so I copied my friends at the time. I was like 8 years old, like how he moved his fingers.
Yeah.
But then like harp and piano was exactly the same thing, like from my turn. And so with piano, for me, it was actually easier to learn how to improvise and do something nice that just sounds nice. So now at the stage where if you first listen to what the bass line is,
sure.
What the bass tonality is, and then from there, yes, I improvise just based on my gut feeling.
Yeah.
What I'm missing is I would love to learn 2 skills. One is being able to play a melody that's in my head.
Yeah.
So if I hear something like da da da, I can't replay it. I need to find the tunes first.
Yeah.
I don't know what da is.
Yeah.
And the second thing is music theory, like what you just mentioned, sounded amazing. I would love to learn that. Like the chord string, I had some music theory, but it was always very dry. Like this is C dur, and this is this and this, and I couldn't mix it. It didn't resonate.
That's so wild to me that you could
I'd love to go
so
there.
crazy you could be at competition level harping, and nobody tells you how a fucking chord progression is. That's a mistake to me. Like that situation can exist. That you are going even into like contemporary modern classical music, but you don't know what it means to like have a 4-chord chord progression. That's
No clue. Yeah. Teach you the 4-chord progression.
oh man, that's nuts. The music theory that I would teach is very simple. I'm sure you probably intuitively at least find the key of the song. Like you say, okay, certain notes are in this key, in the scale, and certain notes are not. Like on the piano, when I'm going to play a song, I'm going to choose some notes that I'm going to use, and many notes that I'm also not going to use because they're going to sound dissonant most of the time, unless I'm doing weird jazz stuff.
I need to find 2 or 3 notes, and then I can figure out intellectually actually what the rest is. So if you give me like, if I realize that there's like a C and F minor, sharp, sorry, then it's probably, then I know, okay, it might be then C, F sharp, and it means like all of the rest are non-sharp, and it's gonna be like 0 mol, and then okay, then I know kind of these are the tunes I can play, and all of these will be in the same tonality.
Right, yeah.
So I still need to figure that out and test a bit, and sometimes I'm off with 1 or 2, and then once I test a bit, then I'm like, okay, this is the tonality, I'm going with that.
Could it be that what you're doing is something similar to improvising over the pentatonic scale? No? Okay, let's move to the piano for a second. Let me like...
The pentatonic scale, who are you?
oh my god. Okay, this is cool. This is a piano. The distance between this and this is an octave. You're familiar with octaves?
In the sense of...
in the sense that this is one pattern on the keyboard and it just repeats again and again and again, right? Yeah. And usually we find the 2 and we go here, that's the C, middle C, right? You go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Cool. So all we need to know is what's going on from here to here, because the same will apply also from here to here.
Why do you choose A instead of C?
Might as well. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's arbitrary. It's arbitrary.
Okay.
And so for most songs, you're going to choose a scale. And what we're going to do now is we're going to choose the C major scale, which is just Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do. Right? And cool, so that means that when I'm going to play music in this scale, I'm just not going to play any of the black notes because I'm not including the black notes in the scale.
Yeah.
I could do the same starting on the G, for example.
Yeah.
Guitarists are often using this one because you can do the exact same, only instead of this one you use this one. And it also sounds like Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do. It's the same shape, it's just transposed up, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Long story short, we just need to choose one note as the root note of our scale, construct the scale over it, and then we know which notes are in and out of that scale. Cool, easy. Like that, I mean, that's pretty easy, right? That simplifies our life. And then we're gonna say that okay, we're gonna use C major scale. Then we're gonna notice that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 notes in that, and this one is the 1 again, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there are only 7 notes in our scale, and so we're gonna now construct chords over each of these notes, which means that we're gonna just hold this shape in our hand, do nothing else. This is the chord over the 1. This is the chord over the 2. This is the chord over the 3. This is the chord over the 4, 5, 6, 7, 1 again. So I'm gonna now play you the 1 chord, and now the 4 chord, and now the 5th chord, back to the 1. That's like that song, it has a chord progression of 1, 4, 5, and as long as you keep playing that 1, it just loops over and over and over and over again, especially in electronic music. Sometimes in pop, halfway through the song you change to a different chord progression. But in most music, all you do is just go from this chord to this chord to this chord, and that's it. And I sat down with all of your songs that you sent in the playlist, and half of them they start on the 6th chord, so like this one, and then they go to the 2 chord. That's it. And that's it. That's all. Most of them they just go. And now one of the trickeries that you can do, right? This is the 2 chord, right?
Okay.
But you can always replace any of the notes an octave down or an octave above. So like I can move this one. And this stays the root note of the chord. Like it stays a 2 chord, right? Even if I do this. So it goes from this chord to this chord. These are the 2 notes, the 2 chords that most of those songs have. Now here it sounds very good because I'm playing it in the bass, it sounds kind of dark, but I can play it up here as well. And so once this chord progression is happening, most instruments that can play multiple notes will respect that chord progression. The guitarist will play just this chord progression. The bass, he will usually play the root note, so he'll go from. Sometimes you might put a little decorative note in between, right? So we might go. But that little note is just decorative.
Yeah.
It's basically chord, chord, chord. And then when you get the saxophonist in, or the harp player, they do something called improvising the pentatonic scale, which is just these 5 notes always sound good, no matter what. So I'm gonna improvise in the pentatonic scale. I'm not great at that, but like. Singer will improvise, they'll usually do this as well.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Interesting.
The chord progression tells you what the emotion is of the story.
Yeah.
Every chord progression has a different emotion. This is quite a sad one.
Yeah.
Because it's 2 minor chords. 1 and 2, it's like, oh, sad, sad, sad. But then you put something kind of hopeful on it. You see, and then you get the sadness plus brightness, and something opens up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you listen to any song in the whole world, you can just say, okay, let me figure out what chord progression it's using, and that usually just means something like 6, 2.
Yeah.
Sometimes 4 chords is maybe the maximum that most chord progressions do. Like one of the most famous chord progressions in the world is this one: 1 to 5 to 6. To 4. I want to make you watch a video which is like a medley of those, like 100 pop songs who use those 4 chords. And live with or without you. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary, come to me. In the jungle, the mighty jungle. It's like, it's such a famous chord progression, and it's 1, 5, 6, 4. So there's patterns that come back in music again and again and again, and once you start to be sensitive to them, you go, oh, I know how this is made. And with your harp, you have a beautiful polyphonic instrument where you can play chords and stuff.
Yeah.
You know? And so I guess.
Okay, you're blowing my mind right now.
Yeah.
Jesus. Wow. Fuck. Oh, wow.
Yeah, music
Okay.
is easy actually, right? Like sometimes when I show people this, people go like, music is a parlor trick. It's a magic trick.
Yeah.
Because it makes it, like classical musicians will make it seem so complicated, but all that like chord, I don't know, chord. So like Moonlight Sonata, it's not these exact chords, right? But it's just a chord, and what I'm doing here is called an arpeggio. I'm just playing the chord, but I'm playing it broken up, which is just the same as a chord. And so during the moment when one chord is important in a song, you kind of respect those notes of that chord, then you move on to the next chord and you respect the notes of that chord.
Yeah.
And then there's another part to this which blew my mind in the last year. I wanted a piano teacher.
Yeah.
And the moment the piano teacher like saw me, he was like, I don't think we're going to be learning piano. And instead he blew my mind in something completely different, which is ear training. Which is, if this is Do, right? And you sing me
Do, 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 do,
Yeah.
do.
Yes, perfect. Now go all the way up to the next Do.
Do, re, mi, do, re, no, wait. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do.
Now do it backwards.
Do, da, 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 da.
Perfect. But you didn't say the names, right?
No.
So I also blew my mind. I was like, I can't even sing it backwards.
Yeah.
That's weird. First of all, and then he was like, okay. So you have to start getting used to that, being able to sing this super fluently,
Okay.
and then ideally to go from any point in the scale to any point in the scale and back. Like if I go from here,
Yeah.
can you sing me up to Sol
Do, re, mi, fa, sol.
and back down?
Fa, mi, re, do.
So you start to get better and faster at this with practice, with a certain amount of drills, and then you can do things like do, do, sol, do, sol, do, do, sol, do, fa, do, mi, do, re, do, mi, do, fa, do, sol, do, la, do, ti, do. Can't believe I'm acting like a teacher in this because I was so useless at it a year ago. But this, once you get to that,
Yeah.
then you can do it upwards and downwards.
Yeah.
Then you can be like, oh, I hear the bass is going do, fa, sol. Okay. Well, if the bass is going do, fa, sol, it's probably a 1, 4, 5 chord progression, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I know the chord progression just from listening to the music. I didn't
Okay.
even have to touch the piano.
Yeah. And so when you hear, for example, when it's not do bass, but it's like fa bass, like a fa is like
Yeah.
the main, then you know, like you hear the sound, you're like, oh, that's a fa.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yes.
Or you still at the beginning,
I'm
you
not
mostly need
that
like
fluent,
do bass, like I mean this type of.
Yeah, so one of the things is that, like, as you know, we're using only the white notes right
Yeah.
now because we're using C, right? But any note can be the home, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, you learned this as do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, right?
Yeah.
But
Actually, I learned it C, D, E, F, G, H, T.
okay, good, even better. Because one tool that I never learned as a kid is that you can, something called moveable do. So we say do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, but if we said that this was home,
Yeah.
we would call this do. Go, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Because for the purpose of our scales, we have to start somewhere and end somewhere, and we're going to just call that do,
Sure. Okay.
right? This is in contrast to what a classical musician will tell you. They'll tell you this exact note is called a do. But more
Got it.
modern teachers will just say, use movable do. Wherever you start going do, re, mi, fa, sol, that's the do,
That's a do, yeah.
right? So this is do, because we want to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because if I was going to play La Bamba in this key, I would also start on the 1. I would go 1, 4, 5, 4, 1. It's the same concept. So the scales are completely interchangeable. It doesn't matter where you start, as long as you choose a place to start and be consistent for the rest of the song.
Okay.
And yeah, it's when you start to listen to a song, one of the most valuable things you can probably do for yourself now is find the root note of the song in your head. Just like, where's the do of that song? So I'm going to play you a song, anything.
So how do you do this?
No, it's up a bit high. I would check if that's major or minor, which is a different skill. I'm gonna have to do it here. So it's probably something including this note and something including this note. Probably. So I would say that this is the 6th chord of the scale going into the 2nd chord of the scale, which is every single song on this playlist that you're saying. Every single song on this playlist does that. I have a whole mind map of it.
Really? So what?
So basically, so this song was in. And so the scale in question here is this one. It starts here. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. So if this is the 1, then this is the 6. And the chord over 6 goes like this. And the chord over 2, which is this one, goes like this. And so we go 1 to 2. And because it's easier for me if I just move these 2 fingers, that creates an inverted 2. Because this, when it belongs up here, is just this, right? So I just move this down here. So I go from 6 to an inverted 2, back to 6, back to an inverted 2. And I can do that, for example, by holding in the left hand also my bass, which is here. So I go, and then on the right I go, bim, bim, bim. You could transpose all of this to C major, right? And then you would start on the 6 and go to the 2. And 6 and 2. Exactly the same movement, almost the same feeling. Slightly different nuance, but more or less the same feeling as once you get used to the new tonal center. And so what is this? B flat?
Yeah, is it B flat?
Intuitive way for us today to start jamming would be to choose any key that you're comfortable with on the harp. And then I would like, for example, play this 6-2 chord progression. And you just start feeling what it feels like to jam over top of that.
Okay, dude, thanks so much for showing me this. This is insane. So, and I feel like a lot of the stuff my harp teacher told me, but never so clearly.
Yeah.
Okay, now I understand the wheel. Yes, that's why I see it. Okay. Oh yeah, because it's the same. Oh, it makes so much sense.
Why did they tell you this day 1 of music school?
Where the fuck's the camera? Boom! Boom! I'm mind blown.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh no.